Leo, if you knew that tonight a door to financial freedom had just opened, would you be ready to walk through it? You didn't stumble into this video by accident. You arrived here tonight because something greater, something cosmic whispered your name at just the right moment. And now, you're standing at the threshold of a breakthrough you didn't expect but deeply deserve. A financial shift is unfolding tonight, and it is not too late for you to prosper. In fact, the universe has been waiting for this moment all along. Take a deep breath. Let the noise of the outside world fall away. And just for a few seconds, ask yourself, what word rises to the surface of my soul right now? Is it abundance? Freedom? Renewal? Leadership? Let that one word be your personal mantra tonight, the signal that you are awake and aligned. Now, type that word in the comments below. Let this be your moment of declaration. When you name what you're ready to receive, the universe begins to move things in your favor. There is a reason you, a Leo, are drawn to messages like this. You are ruled by the sun itself. You don't chase light, you are the light. And yet, even the sun rests before it rises again. If you've been feeling unseen, delayed, or like you've been carrying more than your share, that's not failure. That's alignment preparing to reset itself. Tonight's energy brings an invitation to stop holding it all together and start calling your power home. And before we dive into the tarot insights, astrological movements, and spiritual downloads that will help you align with this financial upgrade, I want to pause to say something that matters. Thank you. Thank you for being here. For watching. For commenting. For subscribing. Your presence, your energize what fuels this sacred space we call eternal mindfulness. You are the reason this message is alive. And your continued support is what allows this light to reach those who need it most. So if this message resonates with you, don't just listen. Engage. Claim it. Because I promise you, what the universe is revealing tonight is not just inspiring, it's life-altering. You'll want to stay until the very last moment of this reading, because the messages waiting for you are layered with truth, power, and potential. I'll be walking you through them piece by piece with clarity, care, and cosmic precision. But first, answer this. What brought you here tonight, Leo? Was it a quiet nudge? A restless curiosity? A deep inner knowing that something had to change? Whatever it was, trust it. This is your alignment speaking. Now take a moment, scroll down, and leave that one word, your guiding word for tonight, in the comments below. Let it be your offering. Let it be your affirmation. Let it be the start of something that truly belongs to you. Are you ready? Let's begin. Leo, this part of your journey isn't about pushing forward, it's about softening inward. You've spent so much time trying to meet expectations, even your own. The world often teaches us to equate movement with progress, visibility with value. But there is a different kind of power, a quieter, steadier kind that emerges when you stop trying to outrun the parts of yourself that simply want to be held. You are not falling behind. You are returning. And what you're returning to is not a weaker version of yourself, but the truer one. This is the version that doesn't need applause to know its worth, that doesn't need permission to shine. It is the part of you that leads not from dominance, but from alignment. The Strength card is not about brute force. It's about radical gentleness, the kind of inner presence that doesn't try to overpower fear, but sits with it, breathes through it, and eventually transforms it. That card appearing for you tonight isn't just symbolic, it's a mirror. It's showing you what you've forgotten, that your greatest power was never in your ability to prove anything, but in your capacity to stay soft even while standing strong. You see, a flame doesn't need to roar to offer warmth. A lion doesn't need to chase to command space. True radiance, the kind you were born to carry, comes not from intensity but from consistency. And when you embrace that kind of presence, the world responds without you needing to demand it. This is the great reversal of effort. Not everything must be chased. Some things must simply be allowed to return. The door you thought was closed was never locked. It just required a different version of you to approach it, one who no longer begs to be chosen, but chooses herself. And just like the river doesn't resist the curve of the stone, but wears it smooth over time, you too are learning to shape your reality through soft but steady being. You're not stepping into your power tonight by doing more but by being less bound. Less bound to timelines. Less bound to approval. Less bound to the versions of yourself you've outgrown. To return to your throne, as it's said, isn't a declaration of control. It's the quiet realization that the throne was never outside you to begin with. It has always been the steady seat of your awareness, the place inside that watches, feels, moves with dignity and intention. You don't ascend to that space, you remember it. This remembering is not dramatic. It's not public. It may not even be visible to those around you. But its ripple is vast. Because when one person chooses to sit in the fullness of who they are, without apology or mask, the whole field around them begins to shift. That is how leadership happens. Not through force but through frequency. Tonight, you don't have to become anyone else. You don't have to fix, hustle, or fight. You're not here to perform radiance, you are here to recognize it as something that has always been yours. So breathe, Leo. Let go of needing to be anything other than fully yourself. What is meant for you will find you when you return to the quiet center where your truth lives. That's your power. That's your throne. And tonight, you're already sitting in it. Even the brightest fire can feel invisible when it burns alone. Leo, you were born to radiatito illuminate the spaces you enter with boldness and warmth. But beneath the glow, there is a quieter truth. Sometimes, despite all the light you offer, there is still a deep yearning within, the desire to be seen as you are, not just as you appear. There's a paradox here that many don't notice. Those who shine the brightest are often the ones least understood. You may be the one others turn toward, strong one, the steady one, the protector. And yet, when your heart aches, who do you turn to? When you're tired of carrying it all, where do you lay your burdens? This moment invites you to consider love not as something to earn or maintain, but as something you were always worthy of receiving. Not love as performance, but love as presence. Not love that asks you to shrink or sacrifice, but love that simply holds you as you are without condition, without pressure, without fear of being too much. To be seen is not to be watched. It is to be felt. To be witnessed without correction. And tonight, the invitation is to allow yourself to experience that kind of recognition, not from others first, but from within. When you can look at your own longing without shame, when you can name your loneliness without judgment, when you can sit beside your own aching heart and say, "I hear you," that's when the healing begins. Forgiveness becomes possible here. Not because what was done to you was okay, but because your soul is ready to stop holding the wound open. The longer we grip the hurt, the heavier it becomes. And yet, the moment we soften, even slightly, we realize we were never meant to carry it alone. Forgiveness, then, is not about the past, it's a release into the present. It's the willingness to no longer let pain define your future. In relationships, this softness becomes your strength. It gives you the courage to speak what you've swallowed, to reach out when your pride wants you to stay silent, to ask for what you truly need even when it feels vulnerable. And if you are single, this is your time to become intimately clear about the kind of love that feels like home, not the fantasy love that dazzles from a distance, but the grounded, honoring kind that meets you where you are. The heart is like a lotus. It blooms not in the absence of mud, but because of it. In the depth of murky water, surrounded by stillness, it rises toward the surface, not to escape its environment, but to unfold from within it. Your heart is no different. Every pain, every silence, every longing has been part of your blooming. And tonight, something in you is ready to open. Let yourself be seen. Let yourself be felt. You don't have to lead with perfection anymore. You don't need to guard your emotions with pride. What you long for most is already on its way, not because you've earned it, but because you've made space for it. There is strength in vulnerability, clarity in honesty, and power in saying, "I matter, too." Let your heart rest here. Let it be met, held, and heard. And as you soften into this truth, the kind of connection your soul has been waiting for will begin to recognize you, too. Quietly, gently, but unmistakably. We often speak of success as something we chase, like a finish line we have to sprint toward. But Leo, tonight's cards tell a different story. They speak not of speed or pressure but of presence, timing, and trust in what you've already begun. The Strength card opening this sequence is no coincidence. It reminds you that your mere presence is already doing the work. You don't have to shout to be heard. You don't have to win to prove your value. There is something magnetic about your energy when you simply allow yourself to stand rooted, without the need to convince anyone of your worth. From that still power, we move into vision. The Three of Wands arrives like a silent nod from the future you. It points to what is just beyond the horizon, not something random or lucky, but the result of seeds you've planted, intentions you've held, and patience you've practiced. Even when it seemed like no one noticed your effort, even when the results didn't come fast enough, you were aligning. You were becoming. This card doesn't say, "Start over." It says, "Get ready." Because something is coming in, not because you chased it, but because you stayed open to it. Then the sun appears, and it's as if the universe itself throws open the curtain. A burst of recognition, clarity, or joy is about to find you. But this isn't just about good news, it's about being seen. The sun doesn't ask for attention, it simply rises. And in doing so, it changes everything. Your gifts, your voice, your leadership, they were never meant to be hidden. There's something in your life, perhaps a project, a conversation, a talent you've been holding back. This is the time to allow it to step into the light. The Knight of Wands comes in fast, like a gust of warm wine through an open window. It's a nudge to move now. To take the call, pitch the idea, send the message. Not everything needs to be overthought. Some decisions are not made from logic theory, made from fire. And you, Leo, are ruled by fire. There's something beautifully alive in taking action, not because it's guaranteed, but because it feels right. Sometimes courage isn't about leaping with a plan, it's about leaping with presence. And as we ride this wave of bold motion, the High Priestess anchors us back to silence. Her energy is like the moonlight after a wild storm. She whispers, "Don't forget to listen." Because even in moments of high speed or celebration, there is wisdom hidden in stillness. She teaches you that your intuition isn't a backup plan, it's the real compass. The gut feeling. The quiet nudge. The subtle signs that seem small but point towards something much bigger. This moment is a perfect example of what it means to act from aligned awareness. You don't have to force anything, but you do have to listen closely. The most powerful movements in life often begin in silence, just like the ripples that come from a single drop in a calm pond. If you've been seeing repeating numbers, sensing a dream pattern, or feeling something click deep inside, this is confirmation. Your internal GPS is tuned in. True success doesn't arrive all at once. It reveals itself layer by layer, choice by choice, like a lotus blooming through still water. These 5 cards together are your map for tonight. Be present. Hold the vision. Allow yourself to be seen. Take the leap. And above all, trust what you already know. You are further along than you think. There comes a moment when the very idea of making a living begins to feel too small for the life you know you're meant to live. Leo, your chart is not coded for survival, it's written for sovereignty. Your soul doesn't crave comfort zones. It's wired for expansion, impact, and visibility. And tonight, this part of the journey calls you gently but clearly toward a deeper truth. You were never here to trade your hours for just enough. You are here to create, to lead, to rise and to prosper, not through exhaustion, but through aligned expression. When the Sun and the Knight of Wands appear in the same energetic space, something powerful is being activated. The Sun reminds us that abundance is a byproduct of authenticity. When you allow yourself to be fully seen, when you no longer hide your talents behind humility or fear, prosperity becomes less of a pursuit and more of a natural consequence. The Knight of Wands, in contrast, is pure momentum. He's the flame that refuses to wait for conditions to be perfect. He acts not because he's certain of the outcome, but because he trusts his internal pulse more than external permission. Together, these energies tell a story. It's not about waiting for the door to open. It's about realizing the lock was never actually there. The hesitation you feel isn't because you're not ready, it's because part of you still believes readiness comes from logic. But clarity, in its highest form, doesn't arrive through endless analysis. It comes through movement. Through showing up, trying, falling forward, adjusting, continuing. You can't steer a parked car. And your dream, this wild, vivid, creative call within you, has been waiting for you to start the ignition. From a wisdom perspective, we learn that right livelihood is not simply a job that pays. It's work that feels whole. Work that nourishes the giver and the receiver equally. When your efforts align with your essence, when your work supports your inner peace rather than drains it, you begin to experience wealth on multiple levels. You may start with a modest step, selling a skill you've always downplayed, asking for more in a negotiation, or putting yourself out there without a guarantee. But the moment you stop questioning your worthiness and start treating your gifts as sacred contributions, something shifts. What you offer becomes a bridge not just to financial freedom, but to self-respect. This is why tonight's message doesn't come from strategy, it comes from embodiment. If you've been asking, should I quit? Or, should I invest? Or, should I begin again? You're not looking for advice. You're looking for permission. And permission, Leo, was never meant to come from outside of you. It arises the moment you realize that fear isn't a wall, it's a doorway. And the only thing waiting on the other side is the version of you that no longer questions whether you belong in rooms of abundance. Ask yourself, right now, what would I do if I truly believed I could not fail? Then go write down 3 ways you can bring that answer into motion this week. Maybe it's applying again. Maybe it's charging what you're worth. Maybe it's turning your story into a service. Let it be small. Let it be quiet. But let it be real. Because once you act from belief rather than fear, you set a chain of events in motion that no longer needs to be forced. The door isn't locked. It never was. And now that you've stopped waiting for someone to open it, you can walk through with your head high, your chest open, and your purpose intact. Your throne was never in someone else's hands. It's always been waiting where your courage and your calling meet. Tonight, take a step toward it. Not later. Not someday. Now. Leo, even fire must learn to rest in order to burn brighter. After the fierce movement of action, of decisions made with courage and heart, there is a sacred Pao-Si breath that reminds you your body is not a machine to be commanded, but a temple to be honored. Tonight, the pairing of strength and the High Priestess doesn't urge more doing. It asks for deeper listening. This isn't a time to push harder, but to surrender to the knowing that healing, like prosperity, flows more freely when you soften instead of strain. Strength, in its most enlightened form, is not about force. It is the art of conscious restraint, the quiet power that arises when you choose presence over pressure. In ancient teachings, this energy reflects the lion resting beneath the Bodhi tree, not sleeping from weakness, but resting in awakened awareness. That lion does not roar to prove its strength, it sits calmly, fully knowing it doesn't have to. Tonight, you are invited into that same space. A space where rest is not the opposite of productivity, but its very foundation. You may be carrying emotional weights that have not yet found words. These unspoken energies, left to swirl in silence, can tangle themselves into the body-tight shoulders, restless sleep, and anxious chest. Writing them down is not just a release, it is an act of reclaiming clarity. A single sentence of truth can be more powerful than hours of worry. Give yourself that gift, a quiet place, a piece of paper, and permission to be honest with yourself. You do not need to fix everything tonight. You only need to feel it. When it comes to nourishment, your body is asking for what supports longevity rather than stimulation. Too often, we reach for sugar or caffeine to mimic vitality, when what we truly crave is stillness. Foods rich in magnesium and leafy greens support your nervous system and ground your energy. Vitamin D3 reminds the body of sunlight even when the stars are out. Honor your temple as you would care for a golden altar, because that is what it is. And the moment you treat it as such, vitality returns as a natural rhythm rather than something you chase. Movement tonight is not about breaking a sweat, but breaking free. 10 minutes of stillness, whether it's seated meditation or simply standing barefoot on the earth, can dissolve more tension than an hour of busyness. Try lion's breath, a simple yet deeply cleansing practice. As you breathe out powerfully with sound, you symbolically release what no longer serves you. It is not about performance. It's about permission to feel alive in your own skin again. And if you can, take a short walk under the moonlight. Let her silvery glow remind you of the power of the quiet feminine energy, reflective, magnetic, and softly commanding. The color amber gold resonates deeply tonight. Not just as a visual hue, but as a vibration, a reminder of royalty, resilience, and radiant joy. Wear it, visualize it, or light a candle in its shade. Let it remind you that you are not here to burn out, but to burn bright for a long time. The numbers 1, 10, 33, 44, and 88 carry codes of leadership, divine timing, and the mirror of inner wealth. Write them down. Whisper them like prayers. Let them anchor your energy into this moment. And most importantly, speak these words into your heart before you sleep: I am not late. I am right on time. Prosperity arrives the moment I allow myself to receive it. Say it again, not to convince yourself, but to remind your inner being that rest and abundance are not separate, they are partners in your evolution. If you feel this truth resonating tonight, comment below: I allow myself to receive. Your voice matters. And by affirming your permission, you help unlock it for others, too. Dear Leo, if you've made it here, it's not by accident. You were meant to hear this. To feel it. To awaken to something much greater already stirring inside you. Tonight, something powerful is unfolding, not just around you, but through you. And the most sacred part of this journey is that you don't have to be more, do more, or prove anything to anyone to claim what's already yours. You see, the universe never delivers a message without purpose. The very fact that you're watching this video, breathing in these words, sitting with these truths, means you are already being called. Called to rise into your power. To say yes to the life that was meant for you, not the one you've settled for. So take a moment. Breathe. Reflect on what resonated most in this message. Was it a reminder to finally release what no longer serves you? A nudge to start that idea you've been quietly dreaming of? Or maybe, just maybe, it was the whisper of your own soul saying, I'm ready. This is not just a prediction. This is a permission slip. A gentle but firm push from the universe to act, not out of fear but out of faith. Faith in your brilliance. Faith in your timing. Faith that what is meant for you has always been trying to reach you if only you'd stop running from your own light. So what will you do differently tonight? What step, however small, can you take that aligns with the person you're becoming, not the one you used to be? Can you write that letter you've been avoiding? Can you speak your truth where you once stayed silent? Can you forgive yourself for not knowing better so that now, you can choose better? And if you feel even the smallest spark of possibility, let it grow. Feed it. Speak it into existence by commenting below. Write your soul's keyword. A personal affirmation. Or simply, I am ready to receive. Because the moment you claim it, the universe rushes in to meet you halfway. Thank you for sharing your energy here tonight. Your presence matters. Your light matters. And the more you step into it, the more others will find the courage to do the same. If this message touched you, take a second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might be walking their own uncertain path. Let your ripple of awakening reach others. And remember, you are not alone. Eternal mindfulness is here to walk with you through the shifts, the shadows, the breakthroughs, and the blessings. This is your journey of return. To truth. To abundance. To the radiant, unstoppable soul that you've always been. No more waiting. No more doubting. Only prosperity from here on out. Tonight is your night, Leo. Let it begin.